What do you get when you mix a powerhouse event queen, a child-loving community builder, and a creative firecracker who knows how to make cities sparkle? You get Nupur Sood, and she's in the Cask and Converse seat this week. Founder of Vietjet Melbourne Vibing, boss of the Maudie Canteen, and the energy behind Camp Epic. Nupur doesn't just plan events, she throws parties with a purpose. And speaking of parties, Vietjet Melbourne Vibing is bringing the heat on December 13th at Ron Barassi Senior Park, Docklands. Think music, culture, color, and a celebration of everything that makes the city magic. Backed by the City of Melbourne and Vietjet, it's one big love letter to the city we call home. Tune in and get ready to vibe.
And I don't know if you're aware of this movie Band Baja Barat.
Yeah,
When that was released,
that must have been an inspiration.
people called us. This is a story on you guys, I think. 2 months down the line, I left the job and I said, we have to do something else. We have to start our own business. There was nothing in our pockets. $7,000.
7,000 rupees. So that would be about
Indian rupees.
140 AUD.
We had done small stalls and we were selling roses. And all I was worried about that these, $2 roses, I should finish selling all of them, otherwise we'll be in loss. We forgot it is our own Valentine's. We forgot we had to celebrate. All we were bothered about that we have to finish the stock, otherwise we are in losses. I remember after 2 years, we hosted an event for a big giant, 3,000 people in Delhi, 5,000 people in Hyderabad next day, and
That's huge.
and 800 people in Bangalore, back to back. And the first event, we were very excited. We were very bad at planning of that event. Everything went wrong. That very moment of failure, me and Pankaj sitting in the car and just taking a breath, catching a breath, and he's like, oh my God, it's finished, Nupur. I was like, no, we have tomorrow. I was like, yeah, we have tomorrow. We have to host 5,000 people tomorrow evening in Hyderabad. We immediately picked up our mobile phones. We told the team, this has failed, make sure that there are checklists around this, make sure, double check with your vendors that there are 5,000 people, cakewalk. None mistake done. We covered up thankfully, but that is one event. But this has been my life all this while.
Let us come to Melbourne Vibing. This is the most exciting part. So we are sitting right now in Urban Alley Brewery, which is part of Docklands, and that's going to be the home for Melbourne Vibing as well. Tell us more about Melbourne Vibing.
Vietjet Melbourne Vibing, because Vietjet is our name partner now, is a festival of inclusivity and diversity, and we are celebrating it through the expression of art, performing arts, and literature. We've got artists, we've got Bayside artists, we've got city artists, and while we are talking about inclusivity, we are touching inclusivity at all angles, different abilities, ageism, elders of the land, migrants in economy, and of course genders, diverse genders also. We have a group of senior ladies doing Bollywood numbers at the festival, having workshop called The Space Between Us. So Kati Muni and Neha, who runs Artful Yoga, they're coming together to do this workshop. Then likewise, we have so many artists. We have Weaving with Lorinda, we've got a senior chatty cafe doing origami art and talking about health and wellness. We have people like Denise Mukherjee, Tracy Macbeth, who are wellness veterans talking about wellness space. We've got business owners from different nationalities coming together and speaking. And we've got Patrick Francis, who's differently able autistic artist who was also the Victorian of the Year. Will be coming and presenting his work along with his mother Sandra. A lot's happening. We have a fully packed agenda, and apart from that there are food trucks and entertainers as well.
And tell our audience about the dates and the times.
It's on 13th December, Saturday, one-day festival starting at 11 a.m., ending at 9 p.m. And there's going to be Christmas tree lighting as well, and Christmas carols. We'll have Christmas carols in English language as well as in Russian language. So we've
excellent.
got a group of 30 kids coming together from Choral Harmony, and they'll be singing these carols. And we've got pop stars like Kevin Sylvester performing in the evening, Jesse's performing in the morning, we've got Myanmar dance troupe, we've got Chinese lion dance.
Oh, wow.
We've got hip hop performances.
I'm hoping there are lots of Asian food trucks. Those are my favorite kind.
There are, you name. We've got Brazilian barbecue, we've got Turkish, we've got Asian, we've got Vietnamese, we've got all the possible.
Welcome to Cask and Converse, Nupur. We are so glad to have you.
Thank you, Sharmini. Thank you so much.
And you have come, it's just been 12 months and you've landed with a blast in Melbourne. What an amazing and what an inspiring story. But we will get into it very quickly. Before that, we would love to know what made you come into events of all things?
I'm a by chance child entrepreneur. Like, I'll call myself actually a child entrepreneur when I started my journey in events. I did something for my college. I'm an alum of IHM Pusa, and we had a college festival at that time, and I was made somehow the event manager for that festival, and from there it started, and we gave a theme of Machan to that festival, and it went very big in the college. And that's where I started probably This Is Events, doing decorations, arranging a theme food, that's events. So my then boyfriend, now husband, and a business partner, Pankaj, like, we have to do business. And I don't know if you're aware of this movie Band Baja Barat.
Yeah.
When that was released,
That must have been an inspiration.
people called us. This is a story on you guys, I think. So this happened for us. And I was like, okay, while we landed our jobs in a BPO at that time, and it was paying well for us. And 2 months down the line, I left the job and I said, we have to do something else. We have to start our own business. There was nothing in our pockets. 7,000 bucks.
7,000 rupees. So
Rupees,
that would be about
Indian rupees.
140 AUD.
120 or 140 AUD. Yeah. And we wanted to do business. That's how the journey started. And I remember times like struggle times, good days, bad days, success, learnings, so much. There was a journey around it. Like, I have so many stories around it initially, but the first one I'll talk about is Valentine's Day. Our first Valentine's after we became entrepreneurs. That was 2003 February. Yeah, 2004 February rather. And Daksh IBM BPO, where we used to work, somehow we managed to get their cafeteria. And we had done small stalls, and we were selling roses. I had assigned myself to sell roses. And all I was worried about that these $2 roses, I should finish selling all of them, otherwise we'll be in loss. So that was the mindset I started with. We forgot it is our own Valentine's. We forgot we had to celebrate. All we were bothered about that we have to finish the stock, otherwise we are in losses. I remember the moment. Then we were very hungry by the night. We sold some stock. We were happy, and that's Valentine's Day today. We just bought a greasy chicken roll from a street hawk vendor, and just relished it, laughed it out. That was some personal story of business and a personal life, which I always remember. Then cut to, we were, you know, trusted by a couple of corporates. I don't know what did they see in us. I think they just saw our zeal, and we started picking up business. We started learning more. They were, you know, happy to make us learn at that point in time. And thankfully, India and New Delhi and Gurgaon as a sector was booming. All the corporate companies were entering at that time, and there was, the work was good, the inflow of work was good, and we learnt our way. We were, I think we were there at the right time and right place. But yeah, there were failures. I remember after 2 years, we hosted an event for a big giant, 3,000 people in Delhi, 5,000 people in Hyderabad next day, and
That's huge.
and 800 people in Bangalore, back to back. And the first event, we were very excited. We were very bad at planning of that event. Everything went wrong in that event. There was electricity backup conking off. The artist, the Bollywood celebrity we hired didn't reach on time. We had to send bikers through the Delhi traffic to get her. Her name is Anushka. and we made her directly land on the stage on bike.
Oh,
That
wow.
we didn't have an option.
That would have made the crowd go crazy.
Yeah, the crowd enjoyed. They didn't know the struggle, and but the leadership was on our heads because the team, corporate team who were planning knew that we had messed up.
Yeah.
That very moment of failure, me and Pankaj sitting in the car and just taking a breath, you know, catching a breath, and he's like, "My God, it's finished, Nupur." I was like, "No, we have tomorrow." I was like, "Yeah, we have tomorrow. We have to host 5,000 people tomorrow evening in Hyderabad." We immediately picked up our mobile phones. We told the team, "This has failed, this has failed. Make sure that there are checklists around this. Make sure, double check with your vendors that there are 5,000 people, cakewalk. None mistake done." We covered up, thankfully, but that is one event. But this has been my life all this while.
You know, when I was introduced to you and I heard about you, I think two things really resonated with me. One was how literally, you know, equivalent of $140 in your pocket, and you just decided to step in and take a risk with your life, literally your entire life,
Yeah.
and decided to go all in. And the other thing was just this zeal that you've carried through, like it hasn't dampened, whether it was when you started your business or when you moved countries.
So it was not all me, Sharvani. It was a lot of family support, a lot of partner support to each other, a lot of support from my daughter, who never says no to us. Okay, leaving her back home even for, you know, these years. For 2 years, I'm here in Melbourne. I'm off in Melbourne and India all this while. But she never said no to us. Probably she was tuned like that. I've had business calls and answered emails while checking her temperature, thermometer. There were sick days, there were good days, there were school meetings. We forgot. At time, one day this is not a great example. We forgot that she had an early dispersal, and we both were sitting in a meeting and running our most important presentation. But that child knew that, okay, mom and dad are at work, and she never complained. And when we went to the school, she was just calmly reading a book. And, "Oh, I knew you must be in the meeting." And the receptionist was like, "You forgot your child today." There was early dispersal. Okay, we forgot about it. Like, "No, mama," but she told us they must be in meeting. They are doing business. So
You know, that is such an important thing that you've raised, because being an entrepreneur myself, I realized the biggest safety net that we can have is not money, it's not infrastructure, it's not well, your team is important, but the biggest safety net is always family,
It
and
is.
and the friends that are always there cheering you
Yeah.
on from behind the sidelines, expecting nothing in return.
Friends are very important for this ecosystem to run, and I've had the good fortune of college friends supporting us, leaving their credit cards with us, that okay, you guys are working hard, use it when you want. uh, I've had clients who have turned into friends, family friends. I've had vendor partners turned into friends, even our team members. Like, I run an agency, and there's a influx of people coming and going out. All the Gen Z now, their time or the short period. But I've had team members who've become my clients now, and it's such a proud feeling. Or they are partners, or they are vendor partners, to go. But part of people, there were some heartbreaks, but there is mostly success is what thrives all this while.
Yeah. And there's something there, because it is important to nurture relationships without any hidden agendas. Whether it's in on a one is to one business basis, or even when you look at large corporates. And something that you were talking about, we had this conversation before as well, and there was a very important message that you mentioned, which really resonated with me, is when you started out, you were dealing with these middle management people, and today they have become your loyal clients. They are at some of the topmost positions in this world, and that sustained relationship really counts a lot.
I'll tell you, Camp Epic Global, till date, we don't have a business development team.
Okay.
We never had, we never will, and till date, we don't have somebody called a business development executive in the team, business development manager. Today, we've had the good fortune to pick up our clients and pick up our projects as well. We go for pitches, we win pitches, we lose pitches, but we don't have a business development team. It is all the work done in initial years, and networking, which is reaping us business. Otherwise, you will never hear a call from our team calling you out that, can we come and meet you or anything. It is always that there are referrals around, the team members pitching in for us. Otherwise,
Tell me a bit more about that, because that's very valuable for a small business or even a new business. How do you get the wheel in motion? How do you make it so? And obviously, I'm not saying that not having a business development team is the only solution or anything like that. But how do you build that robust system?
I'll give you the example which I'm going through, and time will tell whether that experiment is right or not. I'm hosting Viajet Melbourne Vibing. Okay. Overnight, me and my team members, me, Shreya, Kayo, Chetan is sitting here, right now. We thought, okay, tomorrow is the deadline for City of Melbourne, and we should put up a presentation, pitch for this. But the deadline is tomorrow. We sat through the night, couple of coffees, presentation, everything. We submitted. After a month, we got selected. Okay, your grant is this and everything. It laid with me because life happened in between. I got detected with cancer. Thankfully, I went into surgery. 2 months back, we decided, okay, we have to do the festival. Now, why this festival is important for me? Instead of putting a business development team in motion or creating client servicing team, we create a IP here with the community, with the corporates, with different segments of the society, and the wheel will start churning itself. So that was the idea, and whatever I did with my cafe, little communities we got in touch with when I landed here. So weaving groups, different speakers visiting us for coffee, they all chipped in. There's a business networking group, they chipped in to help us. Their name is Shweta, Audrey and Shri. and people just came to help. And
That's beautiful.
today in the festival we have, which is happening on 13 December, 35 speakers, 4 hours of performances, and it's a day full of packed agenda. And Vietjet, vice president and MD, I met her at a networking event. When I called her, I was like, "Would you be my sponsor?" She said, "Yeah, come meet me. I'll be your sponsor." No back history, nothing, but somehow it just turned out. That's how we enrolled sponsors. We got the money. That's how we got speakers, artists on board. Look, we are doing this. We want to do something around ageism, something around inclusivity, diversity, and people just came in. What it took was a couple of rounds of coffee, brunches, and meetings, and here we are, all on board now doing this festival.
That's amazing.
And what I feel is how the wheel will churn is that after this, probably I'm doing a couple of corporate events with the same sponsors next year. So I would not ever need a business development team, but I find it, it might work for different businesses and it works for different businesses. But with Pankaj and me, it has, somehow we stay away from the idea of a stranger calling you and just trying to pitch you and sell you anything without knowing you. There has to be a
There has to be that warm connection.
warm connection, then only would it turn it
Yeah.
out. Rest, of course, you have to be capable enough for their ideation, their delivery line and everything. But after people have trusted us, it becomes our mission to make sure that they're used to us.
I'm going to unpack that a bit more with you, because in Australia, generally the conception or misconception, I don't know if that's the first one is a word or not, but the understanding is that unless you are there in the industry for a very long time, unless you've been to the same school as certain people, you can't form connections. And I am always trying to disprove that on a personal level, but I'm so glad that I met you, and you've literally completely thrown away that idea, because you came here 12 months ago, realistically speaking, and now you're not just coming here as an immigrant to find a place for yourself, but you're actually creating wealth for the community around you. You're creating wealth for the small businesses around you. That's phenomenal. And you've thrived on not just your past experience, but you're building new connections. Let's unpack that.
Sure. It might sound crazy, but before I landed here, we invested in a cafe. And the day I landed...
Cafe over here.
Yes.
Okay.
A Bayside cafe, which is called the Modi Canteen. We serve good breakfast and coffee, decent breakfast and coffee. But it has been a journey of learning. Financially, not very viable or profitable as the other business, but yes, it has been a journey of learning. I landed. I realized that there are no cleaners today. Somebody had called, but they didn't turn up. And I was cleaning the cobwebs. After that, I realized, okay, this is our coffee supplier, and coffee is taken very seriously in this city. And how many types of coffees you have? Oh my God. There's a whole long list. And how many types of milks?
That's moving for you.
And okay, this coffee supplier started teaching me, okay, you do this shot. Oh my, I was so tired. And the second day I literally reported to my barista, and I realized that barista is the epitome of, cafe culture here. Having a good barista is like having a therapist selling coffee to you. And how important it is for your barista to be happy with you. I'm used to going to office. So I landed up, like I was living in Aspendale and Mordialloc was a short walk. I was like, I didn't have the car. I didn't have the time to buy a car or anything by that time. I just picked up my laptop and had put on my shirt, like I dress up for office. And I landed there. I said, hi. Her name was Ozge. And she's like, Nupur, have you come to work in a company? It's like, okay. It's like, yeah, you need to pick up at that apron and come with me. I'll teach you how to make some shots for coffee. That's how I started my second day. My feet were aching after service of Saturdays and Sundays, and it was such a grounding and humbling experience for me. And when Diva and Pankaj visited me after 2 months, we were short of staff, Melbourne. People didn't turn up. There was a public holiday. I enrolled both of them. Please, guys, come and help me. And my husband was just doing some deal of a conference with his earphone, at the same time taking the brekkie orders. In fact, he wrote on LinkedIn, that's such a humbling and 360-degree experience that here I'm taking orders for a $35 meal, and there I'm closing something which is global in nature. So that was it, and what I formed beautiful connections from the cafe. And today we employ as a group in Melbourne around 20 people, some on part-time, some on full-time, and casual basis. We work with across 10 partners who are our suppliers and service providers. But yes, and I want you to touch that topic. You've really picked up that topic right, about migrants in economy. There has been a lot of noise, anti-immigration. It's really sad, but migrants also prepare businesses.
Yeah. They are the true
Migrants,
bridges.
two bridges. Uh, and while I've got 90% support, 10% of backlash also was there, because they feel that of a certain origin you've come here to drive Ubers or work illegally or work on cash, etc., etc. But I think it is about time that they change their lens.
Yeah.
Those 10% people.
And I'm so glad that you are one of those people who are changing the lens, because you've rightly said, immigration is not crippling the economy, it is boosting the economy. And certain political powers, or certain portions of the society want to always paint us as the poor needy lot who are trying to feed off the economy. Create shortage of housing, create shortage of affordability, but it's actually the very opposite.
It is. I remember I got my first house. I didn't get a house on rent because I was new to the country. And later people realized, okay, she owns Modi Canteen. And
Yeah.
we refused her a house. Then people started visiting me and started offering their house to me. That, would you need a house on rent? That's what happened with me. And later I invested and bought a place for my own in Hawthorne. But that was about it. I didn't have a house to stay. I literally lived out of Airbnb while running my cafe in the initial months. So I also bear the brunt of not having houses. Yeah,
It is very hard. The rental market is very hard. So
I think things will change soon.
yeah, fingers crossed. We
Yeah,
all are hoping, and we all are in our own little ways trying our best to create that space for
Yeah.
things to change,
Yeah.
and especially people like you. So hats off to you, and congratulations as well.
Thank you. It is like every day a struggle, learning new structure, but Melbourne has taught me structure. India taught me the zeal and entrepreneurship, but Melbourne is teaching me a lot of structure and SOP. Myself, like I have a team in India which follows the structure, but I never had to roll up my sleeves to do that. Here, it is teaching me how to work within certain structures.
Yeah.
So 60% of my time goes right now. I'm investing in understanding the structure and the laws around here.
Let us come to Melbourne vibing. This is the most exciting part. So we are sitting right now in Urban Alley Brewery, which is part of Docklands, and that's going to be the home for Melbourne vibing as well. Tell us more about Melbourne vibing.
So Weird Jet Melbourne Vibing, because Weird Jet is our name partner
Yes.
now, is a festival of inclusivity and diversity, and we are celebrating it through the expression of art, performing arts, and literature. Not many people know that Melbourne is also the UNESCO City of Literature. Melbourne is known for their arts. Of course, people know about it. We've got artists, we've got Bayside artists, we've got city artists, we've got uh, all sort of artists here. There's no dearth of art around in Melbourne. So we thought, let's celebrate that. And in my cafe also, going back to my cafe, we have Bayside artists exhibiting their artwork and changing it every month. And this was the friendship, that's purely out of friendship. And from there generated the idea we should do something in the art and literature space. And this festival was incorporated. Somewhere the ideation from the cafe only came into this. And while we are talking about inclusivity, we are touching inclusivity at all angles, different abilities, ageism, elders of the land, migrants in economy, and of course genders, diverse genders also. Back home also I was working on diversity and inclusivity of genders. The festival IP is called Rainbow Literature Festival. But that was about it. So that was the concept, and it slowly grew into a lot of enrollment, a lot of people pitching in. We have a group of senior ladies doing Bollywood numbers at the festival. They are from the studio called Studio J, and they had won the Best Documentary Award for More Than Cute. So these ladies are going to perform, all the seniors are going to perform on Bollywood numbers at the festival and
That is very
celebrate.
interesting.
That is true diversity. You know, this Bollywood, there are different nationalities. They're seniors and they're coming across for a performance. So that is one of the examples. Like this, we have something called, we've having workshop called the space between us. So Kati Muni and Neha, who runs Artful Yoga, they're coming together to do this workshop. They'll be singing, there will be voice modulation, and they're going to do this workshop at the festival. Then likewise, we have so many artists. We have Weaving with Lorinda, we've got a senior chatty cafe doing origami art and talking about health and wellness. We have people like Denise Mukatsi, Tracy Macbeth, who are wellness veterans talking about wellness space. We've got business owners from different nationalities coming together and speaking on different topics, and so many. And we've got Patrick Francis, who's differently able autistic artist, who was also the Victorian of the Year.
That's
will
beautiful.
be coming and presenting his work along with his mother Sandra. And yeah,
That is
there's
amazing.
so much. I'm
Lots
forgetting so
happening.
many names, but yeah, lots happening. We have a fully packed agenda, and apart from that, there are food trucks and entertainers as well.
Yeah. Tell us and tell our audience about the dates and the times.
It's on 13th December, Saturday, one-day festival starting at 11 a.m., ending at 9 p.m. And there's going to be Christmas tree lighting as well, and Christmas carols. We'll have Christmas carols in English language as well as in Russian language.
Oh,
So we've
excellent.
got a group of 30 kids coming together from Choral Harmony, and they'll be singing these carols. And we've got pop stars like Kevin Sylvester performing in the evening, Jesse's performing in the morning. We've got Myanmar dance troupe, we've got Chinese lion dance.
Oh, wow.
We've got hip hop performances.
I'm
So
hoping
much
there are
fun.
lots of Asian food trucks. Those
Yes.
are my favorite kind.
There are. You name. We've got Brazilian barbecue. We've got Turkish. We've got
Oh.
Asian. We've got Vietnamese. We've got all the possible. And of course, there's coffee trailer too.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, true to Melbourne spirit, you have to have a coffee trailer, right? Or in
Yes.
fact, more than one.
Yes.
Sounds awesome. What are the next plans? You've already, within 12 months, you've created a blast, I would say. What next?
What next? Yeah, we're looking forward to do more work in Melbourne. Not only in Melbourne, but across country as well. We are looking to do more corporate work, conferences, convention events. We're talking about a 4-city tour happening in Australia for a corporate, and yeah, we'll learn more.
Amazing. Well, all the very best. We are really hoping that your entire festival is a grand success. And I'm sure this is literally the beginning of your story. And I can't wait to check out the coffee at your cafe.
Most welcome, Sharbali, and come and give us feedback.
I'm a tea convert to a coffee.
Same here.
And Melbourne converted me. So I probably may not be the best person for feedback, but I am definitely going to get a few of my friends who are very, very snobbish when it comes to their coffee. So be prepared.
Sure, anytime. Would love to host you guys. In fact, I understood the concept of chai here. What is Melbourne chai? The
Let's
baptized
not get into
chai.
that. Let's not get into that.
Yeah.
Chai and turmeric latte.
Yeah. So I used to, while taking orders, I used to say turmeric lattes. Then the customers used to correct me. It's turmeric, not turmeric. So these are few learnings every day you learn with them. You have to adapt to the place and culture. And
Yes. And I think migrants do a really beautiful job of not just adapting, but enriching a place as well. And I really hope that people understand that.
yeah, and they should do it because we have entered their domain. While I say that migrants create jobs, migrants create avenues, but it's very important to respect the country
Yes.
we've entered and adapt to the culture. We cannot ignore that.
Very, very rightly said.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nupur. Thank you. It's been a pleasure having you, and it's been an honor as well.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
everybody,
much.
for inviting me. Thank you.
From data management and product innovation to regulatory compliance, whether it's optimizing costs or enhancing efficiencies, Dot Infinity is your partner for solving tricky problems with a human-centric and tech-powered approach. Connect with us at contact@dotinfinity.co.